Yes, ladies and gents, how are we all doing? A little bit earlier today, an hour earlier, still 3 minutes late. 3 minutes. See, is it late if you're the same time? I mean, technically it's 3 minutes late, but you know it's going to be 9:03 instead of 10:03 here on United People's TV here today because we're going to get the Onana announcement today. So I wanted to go early because I didn't want to get caught out by that midstream because I want to do that one properly. And there's a lot to talk about. I mean, when is there ever not a lot to talk about? But yeah, it's the summer is in full flow. We've got the Onana announcement. Laurie Whitwell's confirmed that the medical has been passed. The contract has been signed. And the visa's not an issue. And that was something I was worrying about. So we're going to speak about that. We'll speak about the game yesterday. We'll speak about Van der Beek's goal. We'll speak about Matej Kovar's performance. Then we'll speak about the tour. They've flown out yesterday. The full squad is out. A couple of notable absentees. I'll run through those. Then we will speak about Rasmus Hojlund, the latest on that. And I won't ignore what's going on and what's being said around the takeover. I'm going to do that towards the end of the show. I don't think it's not something that we should be leading with right now because I don't particularly feel that much has changed, just how it's being presented. And that's why I'm going to speak about it a little bit later in the show. But good morning to everyone. What members are down here from, I would say, the best community in the world? We've got Chetan. Good morning to you, my friend. We've got Rami. How you doing? We've got Nilanjan. Good morning to you, sir. We've got Paul Gerard. How you doing, man? We've got Aaron. We've got Ash, Wendy, Corey, Miss Teacup. Alex, you're there as well. See who else has joined in early. Carl, you're here as always. Kieran, Wan, Joris. I was watching Malcolm in the Middle yesterday. I forgot how good that show was. Anyone else like Malcolm in the Middle? It was. It's the one where his mum and his dad nicked the car. Just go and watch it. Go and watch it. I really genuinely forgot how good Malcolm in the Middle was. Miles saying, Sam, your clock's wrong again. I'm not. I've gone early. Because we are going to be getting this man announced today. And it's I'm excited for it. I very, very, very much am excited for it. Samra with the worst comment in the world saying, you remind me of Dewey. Man, damn it. I should have mentioned it. Absolutely rinsed. Dewey, come on. But anyway, how excited are you about the announcement of Onana? Let's run through the story. Let's get straight into the news. I'll try and read out as many of your comments as possible. If you want to support the channel, please drop a like on the video. Send in your super chats if you'd like to. And let's run through the news because we have confirmation here from Laurie Whitwell that he has signed his contract and the plans are for Onana to travel to the USA on Thursday, which is big news. That was something I was worried about. I was worried about whether or not his visa could cause some problems. Anyway, let's run through this article. Let's run through the news on Onana and when we can expect to get that announcement video. Andre Onana has signed his Manchester United contract and is booked on a flight to join his teammates in New York on Thursday. The contract's a 5-year deal with the option of a further year, keeping him at the club until 2028. A nice 5-year contract, just like Marcus Rashford signed. He was at Carrington on Wednesday to complete his medical, finalise the paperwork. It now remains only for the clubs to sign the final paperwork. I suppose that's transition. It's like giving the keys over when you own a house, right? Sign the final paperwork on Thursday for the deal to be completed. United have worked through the required visa process for the Cameroon international and are set to officially announce his arrival in the next 24 hours. Onana will join up with Erik Ten Hag's squad, who are already in New York, once in the United States, and could play some part against Arsenal. I don't particularly feel that he's going to make his debut against Arsenal. I think we all had that conversation before, and I think it is more likely to happen against Real Madrid, but never know. It might do. Steve Hawke is always down here, very chipper in the comments. It's a goalkeeper. It's not a game-changer signing. Or help us bridge the gap between the top key. What you're saying that Onana is not going to bridge the gap between us, Liverpool, and City. Righty-ho then, my friend. I'll just leave you to your own thoughts and devices there. Because if you don't think that signing is going to make a difference like that, then hey, you do you, all right? You do you. I'm doing me. But woohoo, that is funny, man. That is quite funny. I had to call that bad boy out. That comment anyway. Onana is a game-changing signing. Onana is going to take us towards the modern game that we've just had to witness. We just had to sit there on the side just watching Liverpool and City dominate over these last however many years now. Of course, you're all completely correct. We still need a striker. We absolutely still need a striker. And that was always the priority this summer. But Onana is a game-changing signing. Really, really is. And I think you've kind of seen it in that. Well, it's a little bit different, right? We're playing Leeds and Lyon, right? But Matej Kovar, I thought, really did impress in these first two games. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. What Robbie saying? Why not Sam? He's fit and no harm in giving him 45 minutes. Look, maybe he will be. Maybe he will play. I just didn't think that United would get that over the line quick enough for him to be out in America in time to, recover from the flight, X, Y, Z, and be ready to play. Maybe he will be. So we play at 10 p.m. on Saturday night UK time against Arsenal. Arsenal playing yesterday, winning their first game 5-0. Arsenal are going to be good this season. They really are. Well, everyone's going to be. I keep reiterating this, that the hyper-competitiveness of the Premier League is going to be mad next year. City, they got the here we go yesterday on Gvardiol. Arsenal got Rice, Timber and Havertz. Chelsea going to be better under Poch. Spurs better under Postecoglou. Liverpool got new midfield. If it works out, they'll be better, but it might not. And then there's us with Onana, with Mount, and hopefully Hojlund. Mo, you're saying if we don't get any striker, can we play the Spain tactic in the World Cup with no striker? We probably would have to. The old false nine. But yeah, this is why I said it's a busy day, because we could get excited. We can talk about Onana for another 10, 15, 20 minutes if we want, or we can speak about the fact that, look, the boys are on the way. They're on their way. Look at Diogo Dalot in the back of this photo there, and then he just sneaks across the other side of the plane. It's funny. Anyway, so there's some of the boys flying out there. There's Garnacho and Pellistri, who seem to be becoming friends. Seem to be becoming close friends. If you watch the video of the international players arriving on for preseason training, they were there together as well. So they're sitting next to each other on a plane. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Now, what I'm going to do now is run through the full squad, because there are some, I would argue, notable absences. Mason Mount, of course, is out there. Mason Mount, he's played in both games so far. He was probably better against Leeds than he was against Lyon. You could say that for a couple of players. But I'm looking forward to seeing how quickly he properly settles into this team, because he hasn't played with his senior teammates. Against Arsenal, we might see that midfield of Casemiro, Bruno, and Mount. And that's something I'm very excited about. We've got Stephen, a different Steve. Hi, Sam. First time catching the live. He's watching from Southern California. My Don. How you doing, man? How are you doing? Aiden? I'm going to go for Aiden. All right. You're saying Steve's got a point in some respect. Kovar's been playing our desired style, yet with no striker, we look weak. I know. But I think both of them are equally, in my opinion, they're game changers from different aspects of the pitch. And they are both equally as important as each other. So to try and dismiss the idea that, signing Onana is going to do nothing to this team, it's just an outright lie. But also, you are correct to say that we need that sort of game-changing signing with the striker too. Both of them have to work in unison together. And both of them together can take United to a place. If we had just signed the striker, we would have had all the issues and problems still in goal. If we go into this season without a new striker, we're still going to have the problems and the issues going forward. Solve both those problems in the same summer, and you're looking at a game that's changed for United. Right. This is the squad that's flown out. And there are a few notable absentees. Matej Kovar being one of them. Fred being another one. I think they're the main ones. Harry Maguire's there. Dean Henderson's there, which is a little bit of a strange one. But it's the Matej Kovar one that caught me by surprise. If I was to say who I felt Manchester United's strongest performer was in those first two games, I would have said Matej Kovar. And he was the only player yesterday who played full 90 minutes. Everyone else was taken off at halftime, just like they were in the first game. And I wrongly presumed that was Erik Ten Hag's way of, okay, let me watch him a bit closer. Let me see if he could be my number two. Because we've got confirmation here that Matej Kovar, he's not travelled on the plane, which of course means one thing. He's going to be leaving again. Now, this is from Thomas Rosicky and Sparta Prague yesterday when he was asked about Matej Kovar. Will he be coming back to the club? And I've got him on the board there. You can see it now. Maybe you can't see it because it's written a bit small. I've got Matej Kovar, and I think it looks likely that he's going to be heading back to Sparta Prague on loan. And it was always a question, right? It was always a question of, would Matej Kovar be happy enough coming from winning the league as a number one goalkeeper in the Czech Republic to just being second choice at Manchester United and just watching from the bench as Onana plays? And the answer there is no. That may well be that he's indicated to Erik ten Hag, look, I appreciate the offer, but I don't want to be number two. Or ten Hag has felt, you know what, he's not quite good enough. I think, judging from what we watched, it looked like Matej Kovar would have been a decent backup. But I think for his own career prospects, he's probably asked for that loan. And I'm sure Erik ten Hag will confirm that at some point of the preseason tour, what the situation is. But Kovar will not be playing for Manchester United this season. Him not being, well, you'd be very surprised now if he doesn't go on that preseason tour and then all of a sudden he ends up staying. I don't think he'll stay now. Let me go here. Look at that, JVD. How you doing, man? I'm Luke, I'm Father. My dad's Bruce Lee. Drives me around and he's JVD. Remix. Gifting 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Don. Darren is saying, what's his name? Radek Vitek. He, I believe, was the under-21s goalkeeper, right? Dean Henderson's there. We all know that Dean Henderson, well, he's in talks with Forest right now. And he'll be leaving. Another notable absentee is Tyrell Malacia, who's got an injury, which, as far as Alvaro Fernandez goes, that's him rubbing his hands together. He's now got a preseason to be the backup with Luke Shaw. He's there as the alternative to Luke Shaw. He'll be happy with that. Reece Bennett is also a player who misses out, as is Fred, right? So this is what we've been told. Fred has been kept in Manchester because of personal reasons. All right. He's expected to join up with the rest of the squad shortly. Let's find out. And Mbuna, you're asking how bad is Malacia's injury? We don't know. We haven't been told yet. I think it's only bad enough to rule him out the preseason. So something for a couple of weeks. Hopefully not too bad. But Fred, personal issue. Let's see if he joins up. Yeah, I kind of feel that he won't. I kind of feel that this is sort of the start of the way out. But again, I might be completely wrong. Somebody else who wasn't included in the squad, of course, Erik Bailly, and we know why, because Erik Bailly is leaving. Matthew, you're asking what the likelihood of Fred leaving is, and I would say it's pretty strong. If you're looking at midfield, if you're looking at players who should be leaving, and we go down the squad, I think Dean Henderson, of course. Look, no, Anthony Elanga is there. Forgot that. So Anthony Elanga is there, despite him also being potentially on the way out. Donny van der Beek is included. We'll speak about his goal and his performance yesterday. Steve, you're saying Fred's underrated, will miss his impact. Mate, Fred is a good player, man. Set up the podcast. By the way, there's a new episode of this bad boy coming out in about 15 minutes. New episode of the podcast is coming out. Me and Bao. We speak about Leeds. We speak about Lyon. We speak about the standout performers. We speak about the preseason tour, Onana, Hojlund, the takeover situation. It's a nice half-an-hour chat. It's far more informal on a podcast because, as I said, it's just two mates having a conversation. And I really, really enjoy doing them. But yeah, that's coming out. What was I talking about there? Fred, Bailly. Who else was I speaking about? Martial. I don't know what to say about Martial anymore, man. I really don't. I don't mean that in an offensive way. It's just that me as a fan, like mentally, I've just checked out with Martial. I'm not going to let myself get hyped up. I think it's far more inevitable that he gets some sort of niggle and some sort of injury in this preseason tour than absolutely. Although saying that, he absolutely smashed it last preseason, and I went into the season fully hyped. And then yeah, you know what happened. And yeah, the same thing's going to happen again. But look at that. Look at those options up front. So as much as I want to call Steve out for saying that Onana's not a game-changing signing, absolutely stinks. Look at the options Man United got in attack. Elanga, Forson, Garnacho, Martial, and Rashford. So a player who's going to leave, an under-21s player, who's not a striker, an 19-year-old who's just broken through into the first team and had one season and also isn't a striker, a man who's made of biscuits, and then a fantastic goal scorer, but a left winger in Marcus Rashford. That's our options up front on tour. Jeez, we need a striker. I mean, you saw it yesterday against Lyon in the first 10, 15 minutes. The build-up play was brilliant. And then we couldn't put the ball in the onion bag, as Bao likes to say on the podcast. Carl saying, Sam, stop saying we shouldn't buy Tony. That's daft. Should we have sold Cantona when he had that 9-month ban? What? How in the world are you linking those two things? Cantona was already our player. How in the world are they the same thing? Ivan Toney, we spoke about him in depth on the podcast. I think would be a great signing, but United aren't going to sign him until this whole situation is done. If we sign him, we'll sign him in January. I think he can train from... Anyway, weird comment, man. Some people throwing some weird comments. I know, going down there, people are saying we need 2 strikers. I know. That's why I kept sort of banging the Marcus Thuram drum, because I thought that it would have been a pretty smart, cheap, free... Well, nothing's cheaper than free. Signing, but United, for some reason, we just weren't interested in him, and we just didn't go after him. So Fred's not on the tour. Neither is Matic Kovar. He's going to be going. Erik Bayer's not on the tour. But let's talk about that game yesterday, right? What do you think? Neil Jackson is actually making a good point there. These groupings don't make any sense. I kind of forgot about that. Anthony's an attacker. Ahmad's an attacker. Jadon Sancho's an attacker. Facundo Pellistri is an attacker. Yeah, that's kind of a fair point. But not a striker, 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 not a striker. Forson, I think he's more of a winger. One natural centre forward there. One person you go, yeah, well, he normally plays through the middle. The rest you kind of like just kind of forcing into different positions. That's why we needed 2. We're not going to get 2. Hopefully we get 1 then. I'll speak about Rasmus Hojlund in a bit, but I want to speak about the game yesterday. Man United 1-0 winners against Lyon. First 15 minutes was really good. Really nice high press. Good movement from Sancho, Hannibal, and other players who I can't remember the names of. Ahmad. Sancho, Hannibal, Ahmad. And I saw it. Too many names. Thought it was quite impressive, but the finishing wasn't there. Anthony, that's who it was. Finishing wasn't quite there. 0-0 at half-time. The youngsters come on, and just like in the first game against Leeds, when they're at half-time, finished the game 2-0. The team in the second half was almost better than the team in the first half. Really good pressing and an absolutely wonderful goal for Donny van de Beek. And you saw in his celebration there, you can see it, like the utter relief that came with scoring that goal. Great finish, by the way. But that's what that goal, it wasn't, that was what I think Donny spoke about it after the game. He goes, I've been looking forward to this game for ages. It was more than a preseason game for him. And I'm delighted for him, man. I really am. It doesn't change my personal opinion that I feel that now is the time where Donny was probably going to be looking at pastures new, and Manchester United should be, in my opinion, cashing in. I'll be happy to be proven wrong on Van der Beek. I don't personally feel that I will be proven wrong on Martial. I think I just feel like that ship sailed a while ago. Maybe Donny's got one more chance. I don't personally feel that he will stay. But let's find out. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. A super chat there. Let me read this one out. Actually saying, look, Like your audience interaction more than any other United channels. Cheers, dude. More discussion orientate. Yeah, I might disagree with you, and sometimes I do. But I don't just call you a dick. I kind of try and explain why I disagree with your opinion. Now, look, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and some are bad. Jason, how you doing? I'm still convinced we are struggling on the right. I wouldn't say that Manchester United's wingers in these first two games have been particularly impressive. There's been a lot of cutting inside, a lot of it, which isn't always a bad thing, but we haven't really had too much in terms of the overlaps. Kieran, you're saying that Donny took that finish very well. He did. Anthony saying, but you're saying Donny's time is up. Garlic Bread Man, I'm indeed earlier than usual today. If you're in the Telegram members only chat and the main chat, I gave everybody the link. That's why that community there is important. It's not just a place. It's a genuine, but it is just a place. But actually, it's good for communication. That's where it is. Liam saying, don't let Donny reel you in again. I'll be honest, I'm not sure Donny's ever reeled me in. I was hyped when Donny came in. I was hyped when he... No. When was I most hyped about him? I can't... It's been... I haven't been hyped about him that much, I'll be totally honest. Donny equals preseason Perlo Mark II. Andreas Pereira, eh? Good old Andreas Pereira. I thought he played well. Quite a few of you are mentioning Dan Gore's cross. I'm going to be speaking about Dan Gore in a little bit. But hey, Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans, who's not part of the senior squad here because he is traveling with the kids. There's a name there. I'm not too surprised, but Hansen Aaron, I thought I've quite enjoyed watching him in the first two games. He's not in this squad. He'll be traveling with the younger players to San Diego. Wrong tab, damn it, so close. But Johnny Evans coming in there, being the experienced Johnny Evans. How weird is that, seeing him play for United again? I think somebody said it was something along the lines of like 2,500 days between his last United appearance and this United appearance. Remember when that stat came out when Ronaldo played against Newcastle and they spoke about that? I think that gap was significant. I'm guessing that gap was significantly bigger. Either way. Hey, look, man. I thought he was pretty good. Johnny Evans is an experienced Don. I don't really... Do you think there's any chance? Right, let me know in the comments, right? Do you think there's any chance that Johnny Evans signs a one-year deal, that this turns into him just being a fourth-choice centre-back? Or do you think it's simply Evans staying with United, kind of everyone wins, he goes out with the younger kids to San Diego, he'll help them in that environment because he's in a voice that they can lean on? Or do you think that Johnny Evans, okay, if he impresses enough and Maguire leaves, could you see him being the fourth choice, which means, of course, that we'd have Varane and Martinez as your 1 and your 2, and then Lindelof and Evans as your 3 and your 4? Gary, you're saying stranger things have happened, and I'll be, yeah, yeah, that's true enough. Tyler's saying, yeah, if the club saves money on him, it's not as this is the truth. Like, we are pretty skint as far as the transfer market goes. We do have limits. I know some people don't want to think about it, but we do have limits on how much we can spend this summer. And that might be the best of a bad case scenario, potentially. I'd much rather United go out, sell Maguire, reinvest that money, boom, straight away. But if not, maybe Johnny Evans is better than not having anything. Ian, you're saying a thin one. I'd like him as a backup, but not as a replacement for anyone. I mean, yeah, that's the only reason he would be brought in, right? I might even leave that. Nah, we'll leave that as a poll for today. Nah, we'll let it develop a little bit more. Steve, you're saying getting gassed by Evans will give the Glazers an excuse not to add a proper centre-back signing. This, yeah, it's not about standards have dropped. That man, and no offense, Steve, it's just a dumb. Oh, those standards have dropped. Oh, you can't look at anybody from Southampton. Why are we not signing? Remember when we were linked with Sadio Mane under Van Gaal, and everyone's like, "Oh, what do you mean? Looking at Southampton players, standards are dropped, man. We're United." And then Sadio Mane is an absolutely ridiculously good signing. It's almost like it's not just about who that player plays for. It's more about the quality of the individual. Now, I'm not putting Johnny Evans here in that category by any stretch of the imagination, but Signing Johnny Evans would not be a sign of standards dropping at Manchester United. It'll be a sign that our owners are complete fucks and we do not have the money that we want to invest in that position. And at that time, instead of just being angry about it, maybe you can get a stopgap signing that could help you slightly until you can sign that player that you want, which is where I put Johnny Evans. But hey, let's see how he plays against Wrexham, against San Diego. And let's see what goes on. Maybe Maguire won't even leave, and then it's not even a conversation. I'm not surprised. Okay. I think I'm slightly more disappointed than anything. Kovar was pretty damn good in the 135 minutes. He played a full 90 minutes yesterday and 45 minutes in the first game. And it was these sorts of situations which last season, United would have just crapped their pants in, right? Would have just crapped their pants. Kovar there, playing it with Varane, Alvaro Fernandez down there, playing it to Martinez with two players around him, gives him the eyes, ducks it, runs into that space there, and United just walk up the pitch because Lyon, they didn't really press properly. There's three of them there. They should have had two people behind him anyway. But I think what we've seen in these in those two games there. Let me pull this up here. Is this will make a difference to Manchester United next season. Of course, it's different because you're playing Leeds and you're playing Lyon in the preseason. You're probably always going to get slightly easier opposition. You're going to get slightly easier passes to make. But you might say that was a bad pass there, but no, I think that's a pass from a goalkeeper with confidence to his centre-back that he can deal with that situation. And Martinez dealt with that situation. It's not necessarily a bad pass, but he trusted his ability to do what he needed to do there. Whether that would be dinking it round the corner to Alvaro Fernandez, who said no. He took the hardest option there, gave it the shoulder, dropped it, ran into space. It's going to be a big difference to how Manchester United play next season. And look, I mentioned him earlier, but I'll mention him again now because I think he deserves praise. I think Dan Gore was pretty damn impressive yesterday. And look, the fact that Dan Gore, right, he's on the plane, I think is a little bit of a testament to that. Bear in mind, I believe that was the only game out of the two where he was involved in. Wasn't it? I think it was. Kind of an all-round. I'm not sure if anybody watched United's youth team back in the day. But oh dear. Are we seeing what I'm seeing? Let's have a look here. One second here. No. Ah, here we go again. I don't get it. I suppose it's like, is it just is it easy thrills? I suppose it's easy thrills, right? You just want to distract and you want to take away from it. Fair play, man. If you've got nothing more important in your life to do than to try and ruin a community conversation, then fair play. But Onana's not being announced. I've got my phone right here, so you can't get me. But yeah, I just find it weird, man. I suppose trolls exist. That's what trolls are. Yeah, holy tabs indeed. I've got a lot going on. Nathan, no, I've gone a little bit early today because of the Onana announcement. I know it's coming out at some point. Guarded man would love it if Kobbie saves us a few million by convincing Ten Hag in pre-season. Where would you spend the extra money after Hojlund? Personally, I think I'd still sign somebody like Amrabat, somebody in that sort of sphere, that position, because Kobbie Mainoo may well be that guy. But anyway, I was speaking about Dan Gore. I got massively distracted here. Dan Gore really impressed me yesterday. I think Ten Hag really will be. Josh, you can say, to be fair, the Athletic have said that Onana signed his contract. That happened about 6 hours ago, and that was covered right at the start of the video. And that's everything that's been done already. So yeah, what we're waiting for now is the official announcement, which has not happened, which is what people have. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh here. Sorry, everyone. But look, Ten Hag, I think, really would have been impressed by this lad. And if I'm looking at he's the player I was most excited to see in this preseason. I think you can see why. Because Kobbie Mainoo doesn't. He's not just like he's not a Donald Love or a Paddy McNair or a Tyler Blackett or a Cameron Borthwick Jackson. He's not just one of those youth team players who comes through and you go, oh, he's decent. And then he makes 5-10 appearances, if that, and then disappears and goes and joins Sunderland. Kobbie Mainoo is much better than that. And I think the biggest compliment I can give to him from these 2 appearances so far is he looks like he looks like it's not his first preseason. And something that I've really noticed with him, like when you get a youth team player who's breaking through, sometimes they can try too hard to impress because they want to take the limelight. They want to go, I've got to get myself in a manager's thoughts. Let me do something crazy. He's not been doing that at all. He's just been doing the simple things and doing them really, really well. And that's all. It's not an offense to that player, but it's exactly what that player needs to do in that particular position. No team needs their number 6 midfielder to be doing Zidane turns and to be doing Cruyff turns and to be doing 40-yard raking passes. You can add that to your game. But what you need your number 6 to do is to constantly recycle possession. Never lose the ball. Always be there to defend and screen your defense. And that's what he's done in these first 2 games, right? He's going to be part of our first team squad next season. This is what the Manchester Evening News are reporting. Kobbie Mainoo was impressed. His senior teammates and sources have described him as a real natural talent with high technical ability. And yeah, we've got an absolute gem here. And as I told you, as soon as this man became our manager, I said we won the FA Youth Cup at just the right time. We won the FA Youth Cup for the first time in 10 years. Garnacho was the immediate star to break through into the team last season. And now it looks like Kobbie Mainoo is going to follow him. And I'm really excited to watch this breakthrough this season. Rofi, you're saying that he's calm, controlling the ball. Lee, you're going, he's our Bellingham. He's the first Kobbie Mainoo, is the only Kobbie Mainoo. But at the age that he is, I know he's playing in that sort of number 6 role, but he's also very good at bringing the ball forward. I wouldn't put him into a box right now. I wouldn't say he's definitely a number 6 midfielder. He's young enough that he can play across all positions. So just watch the progress of him this season. Dan Gore's only 18. Yeah, he is only 18. We've got some. I suppose this is why Zidane Iqbal was sold. We have an abundance of talent coming through, and it's Ten Hag is having to be specific about which ones he feels are of the right profile that match a problem area for United. And Zidane Iqbal didn't tick that box, unfortunately, for him. Yeah, what's the next talking point? Here we go. This man here. If I can take 1 second here, can you all please drop a like on the video? It does make a big, big difference. And I'll say it once. I'll say it once per show now. We've got the last 10 days of it. The raffle is on. 700 quid. It's the biggest raffle. I've told you, it basically gets bigger every month. This is the biggest one so far. It's the summer. Treat yourself to a holiday, or just buy a ticket for £1 and you might be able to win a holiday. He's beautiful. It really is. But yeah, big up to everybody. Let me go over here and let's speak about this man, because this is where we're going next, right? This is where we're going next. After Onana's already signed. As I said, I've kind of apologized for maybe jumping down the throats. Onana has signed, but the announcement video is not out yet. So maybe it's not people trolling me. They're just kind of repeating the story of the news that I gave you at the very beginning of the show. Maybe you just weren't here. But Rasmus Hojlund, that's Erik Ten Hag. That one. Jeez, too many tabs, too many tabs. This is the latest that we're hearing from Italy. Now, the reason I'm putting up Alfredo Padula, probably completely annihilated that name, is he was pretty spot on with the Onana story. If you follow the trail back, he was quite impressive in his coverage of it. So that's why I'm now bringing his story about Hojlund here to you, because I feel like he's, I suppose, earned a bit of respect and earned a bit of trust at this point in time, given that we're dealing with another Italian team as well. Right, this is what is being said. Man United intend to raise their offer for Rasmus Hojlund again, and I didn't know that we had put a Rasmus Hojlund bid in. Have we? I thought we'd done, so on the board up there, we've got personal terms agreed, which has been said by David Ornstein, but nothing really about a bid going in. But 60 million euros before any add-ons, man, it's a bit much. I mean, it's going to be a lot. Me and Bao spoke about it on the podcast. Let me see if the podcast has dropped yet. Let's have a look. Not quite yet. But, is that him? Yeah, there we go. We spoke about him on the podcast, and it is a risk. The only striker that we could sign this summer that wouldn't be a risk would be Harry Kane. Every other one would be a risk. And Rasmus Hojlund's part of that. Superfly guy, you're saying, nah, that's a bargain. I mean, it's not. It's not. There's absolutely no way that you can tell me that signing a 20-year-old who scored 9 goals last year in his breakthrough season, that 60, 70 million euros is a bargain. Because it's not a bargain. However, it's something that I want United to do. Like Alfredo here is saying that look, Ten Hag absolutely loves Rasmus Hojlund and feels that he can adapt to the Premier League quickly. And that's an important factor in all of this, isn't it? If you've watched, I've watched a fair bit of Hojlund. I need to watch some more. But he has a pretty dominant physique. For someone of his size, he's got really good acceleration over the first 15, 20 yards. He can hold a player off and he can drive the ball through. He can drive the ball across distances. I wouldn't say he's particularly a typical number 9. He's not somebody who for Atalanta has sort of held himself in the box as a pure number 9. Like Osman does that. Doesn't really have to move much. Just stay in the box, stay in and around the box. The ball's going to come in, you score it. Clinical. Hojlund was more involved than that. So I think he'll have to sort of develop his game somewhat, or maybe that's exactly how Ten Hag will want him to play. But physically, I think he's more than capable of coping with the Premier League. It's just whether that skill set translates immediately to the Premier League. What sort of... Type it in the comments here, right? Okay? In fact, I'm going to do this as a poll. This is a really good poll for today. Let me pull this up, right? If United sign Hojlund, how many goals do you think he'll score overall? So in all competitions, you think he'll score in all competitions, right? We will go for 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. I can't even do that. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, or 30 to 40. I know that's very, very unlikely. They're your four categories. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, or 30 to 40. If we sign him, how many goals do you think he will score? Erik, you're complimenting his sort of his off the ball work rate. At Atalanta, he had to be like that because of the system they play. Play with 3. It was a wing-back system, 3 centre-backs, 2 centre-forwards, overlapping wing-backs. It wasn't really a system where one striker just held his own up front. There's a lot of fluidity. Matthew, nice to see you join. I think you've rejoined. I think you joined as a member before, dude. But thank you very much for rejoining. Stephen, you're saying this one worries me. Yeah, out of the 3, it's the signing I think has the most question marks. Mason Mount, I think I'm pretty confident it's going to be a good signing for Manchester United. Call me overly positive, but I think it really will be. And Onana, I'm absolutely confident that'll be a good signing. There might be some hiccups along the way, but it will be a good signing. But let me go down here and I'm going to see what the immediate reaction in that poll is. Because we've got, man, look at that. This is such cool commit. Less than a minute, we've got 500 votes. 68% of you think he'll score between 10 and 20 goals. Do you think that will be a good first season? Say he scores, I don't know, 15 goals. Anthony scored 8 last season. Rashford scored 30. Who was our second? Was it Man United top? Was it Bruno? Man United top scorers 2022, 23. Damn. Damn, we didn't score many goals last year. I was right, though. It was Bruno. So this is all competitions. I thought Rashford had 30 goals last year, not 32. Am I wrong? I reckon that might be wrong. Not sure I trust these stats. Bruno with 13 in all competitions. Martial with it. Jadon Sancho scored 10 goals. Did Jadon Sancho score 10 goals? Really? My God, didn't know that. Either way, would 15 goals be a good first season? I think it'll be an okay season. Let me see what you're saying down. Lots of you are saying that Rashford scored 30 goals last year. I thought he scored 30 goals. I swear he scored 30 goals. I remember specifically him scoring 30 goals. Alex, you're saying Hojlund scored 22 for club and country, and he was only 19. Sancho had 7 goals last season, apparently. I don't know. These numbers are weird. Either way, I agree with Steve and I agree with everyone. We need a striker. Hojlund is hopefully going to be that guy. Joe, you're asking why I went early today. It's because we are going to be getting this announcement. I'm preparing myself. I've got to give myself time to prep everything, to do it properly. I like doing things. I hate getting caught out. I know as much as you love it when big news breaks during the stream. I like to have the time to prepare and deliver the show properly, which is very difficult when a big thing gets announced. That's why we've gone a little bit early. Apparently, Sancho he scored 10 goals. Man, I think we've all been a little bit harsh on Sancho then. I'm looking forward, mate. I hope Sancho nails it. But look, ending the show here. It's bigger than anything we're talking about, right? It's the sale of Manchester United Football Club. And what's happening? We're waiting for the Glazers. What did we expect to happen? Pretty much exactly this. In terms of our fears and expectations, it's pretty much gone to plan. Andreas, you're saying Laurie Whitwell said the announcement will be in 34 hours. No, he didn't. It's going to be in the next 24 hours, right there. It will happen today. If it doesn't happen today, then, well, I'm wrong. Completely wrong. But I think it will happen today. Right. This is what's being said about the takeover situation. I'm going to tell you why I'm only telling you this at the end of the show rather than leading at the start of the show. First of all, you can see what the reaction is in the market. You can see that Manchester United, we go down here, let's have a look at the last month, for example. You can see the peak that was caused. Well, it's not even peak, really. Let's have a look at 3 months. You can see how this is when it absolutely spiked. Look at that. When is that? 26th of the 5th. That's May. June. No, not June. Yeah, that's July. But you can see the dip that's happened this week. Let's zoom in a little bit, actually. Let's go for the past month. You can see it's on a bit. It's trending downwards. Okay, it's trending downwards at this moment in time. That's not to say that it's going to completely go that way and it won't ever change, but it's trending downwards, and that's coming off the back pretty much of this. All right, it's from Mike Keegan yesterday in the Daily Mail saying the Manchester United takeover bidders fear that the Glazers will not sell after they failed to obtain the asking price, and they will be in charge for the start of next season. Now, the reason I'm not leading with this story, not leading with this headline, is this. This, more than anything, is just the passing of time rather than new news. The reason this is now a story is because we've gone so far and we're now too close to the start of the Premier League season that even if tomorrow the Glazers announced the decision to sell to the Qataris or Jim Ratcliffe, there wouldn't be enough time for all the necessary documentation to be signed and ratified. And that's why, no matter what happens now, the Glazers will be in charge by the time the Premier League starts. Okay? And other than that, nothing has really changed. Oh, what? We're all scared that the Glazers won't sell. We've been scared of that since day one. Nothing has changed on that front. The Glazers are delaying it. They've delayed every single decision forever. That's no different. Alex, you're saying there it's pure clickbait. It's not clickbait, but it's kind of a manipulation. I suppose that's what clickbait is, right? It's getting United fans riled up. It's getting the anger building, which the anger should be there. And I know full well that things are planned for the 14th of August for that game against Wolves, if these leeches are still in control, which it looks like they will be. But for me, this yesterday, and you can see it, Ratcliffe is sitting there ready to wait for the Glazers to make whatever decision they want to do, even if it takes 3, 4, 5 extra months. I spoke about this on the podcast, right? And it almost... I wonder if the Glazers, part of their thought process here, like, because I said to Bao, I said, like, can you give me one like solid, logical business argument as to why the Glazers should delay it any longer? And the only thing I can come up with is the idea that they're going, right, okay, so from next season, there's a new Champions League format. And I believe the group games, I think it changes from 6 to 10. There's more games. There's more TV revenue. There's more money. Maybe that's them going, well, if we wait a little bit, we can probably get more money from that. And they're probably looking at Manchester United and this man and saying, you know what? I think Manchester United are going to be better this season. If we just hold off and let Ten Hag have a better campaign, if we just hold off and let that Champions League money, new, bigger money, become closer so we can include it as part of the sale, maybe we can get us the 6 billion that we want. That's the only thing I've got in my head. It doesn't make logical sense to us as fans, but to them as greedy vermin, it makes perfect sense. But man, honestly, I just want to headbutt them. Probably shouldn't have said that. Oh well. I'm just done with looking at their face, man. I really, really am. But that's why I didn't lead with the story, because I feel that this is more, rather than this being new news, the Glazers might not sell. That's not new news, man. They've always been, that's always been a possibility. And the idea that they're going to be in charge now for the first game of the season, again, is not new news. That's just the passing of time, which now means that those papers are going to be basically impossible to sign. Man. Just speaking about it exhausts me now. It really does. This has been going on since November. And the excitement has just been replaced by, I don't know, I suppose like a looming sense of potential dread. Imagine that. We're finally thinking we're getting rid of the Glazers, and the only emotion we've got towards it now is dread. I'm just like, please leave. Please, come on. Almost begging at this point. There's a super chat there from Protosaurus Rex. How you doing, buddy? Thank you very much. I hope if the Glazers are not going to sell, that their legal team is as bad as United's negotiation team and they get done for market manipulation. I mean, you could argue that Man United's negotiation team has been much better this summer. But I get what you mean. I get what you're going for. Hey, look, give it a couple of years and it all comes out that Abraham Glazer's actually made an extra 30 million in offshore accounts through short-in stocks. That'd be funny. That would be funny. What we're saying there. Michael, please stop this toxicity of the Glazers. Today we're waiting for Onana and Hojlund and Amrabat. All on the same day. You are having the day of days, Michael. You are having the day of days. What else are you saying down here in the comments? It won't even be fun when they go more relief. Hey, Joe, it's going to be a bit of both. It is definitely going to be fun when they leave. Last couple of minutes of the show, you can fire in your questions before the end of the show. I've really enjoyed the chat, as I always do. I enjoy it. Hey, look, I don't always agree with your comments and your opinions. But if I don't agree with it, I'll explain why. Yeah. Don't go headbutting anybody. That's not what I'm condoning. Just to clarify. Devo, sorry you missed the show. No notification. I think Dan McGann, I saw you on Facebook too, saying my alarm went off. What are you doing live already? I apologize about that. But I had to go live a little bit earlier today because what we should be getting is this bad boy announcement. We should be getting the Onana announcement. Laurie Whitwell's confirmed that A, he's signed his contract. B, he's done his medical. C, he's going to be flying to New York on Thursday. And D, we will be getting the official announcement in the next 24 hours. So prepare yourselves because we will be going live. Should I go live when it gets announced? I might go live. I might just do a shorter video. I haven't quite decided yet. What are we saying down here in the comments then? Let me read a couple of your questions out. When they leave, we make a live video popping champers. There will be alcohol consumed. There will be alcohol consumed. Martin, you're depressing me today. Cheer up. Sorry, Martin. My mistake. Let me smile for you. Is that better? Oh, as long as you're happy, Martin. That's all that matters, everybody. Who do you think we should go for next after Hojlund? Amrabat. I think it really ticks the box of where we need. As much as I would love, maybe I'm being unfair on Kobbie Mainoo. Maybe maybe signing Amrabat would be a blocker to Mainoo. But then that just reminds me that when I said that Harry Kane was a blocker to James Wilson, and that haunts me forever. So I can't say something like that again. And you're saying you're not at all certain the Glazers will leave. Look, man, every one of us has had that fear since day one. It's still, in my opinion, I stand there and I look at the numbers and I look at where Manchester United are at. And I know that building the value of Manchester United now is basically impossible without capital investment. Unless you're looking at the short term of what we might be able to achieve this season. They might be able to squeeze a little bit more out after that. I don't know. Steve, you're asking, will he have his visa in time for the Arsenal game? The suggestion is that he will. The suggestion is that he's flying out today. So if he's flying out today, he's got his visa, right? Because there's no point flying to America without the visa. Therefore, he'll be ready to play. Maybe Onana's debut will come against Arsenal a little bit earlier than we thought. But look, thank you all for tuning in today a little bit earlier than normal. Drop a like on the video. Let me have a look at the poll, I remembered at the end. So we have got 1,300 votes and 70% of you think that if we signed Hojlund, he would score between 10 and 20 goals. I think that's a pretty reasonable expectation. Maybe that'll be a good first season. Depends how close you are to 10 or 20, I suppose. Take it easy, everyone. I'll be back live later today, hopefully with the Onana announcement. And yeah, I know I shouldn't have talked about a few things today, but you know what?
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it